All right, I got my guy LZ in the building. He works or he is the owner of Prestige Sounds Northwest. It's based mainly in the north of Portland and the Vancouver area in Washington. Yeah, man, how did you? Let's start with how you started DJing. Like, how did you start?
Man, I started a pretty long time ago, man. I would say high school was probably when I got heavy into it, other than just doing bedroom DJing stuff. So this is a while back, and I had some equipment, and I was trying to save up my change. Just trying to get more speakers, lights, records, and all that stuff. Because back in the day, it was just records. But unfortunately, after I gathered a bunch of stuff, it got jacked. So I had to like start over, right? And it was difficult, but at the same time, it was one of those things where I knew I was going to get back to it because I just felt the love for DJing and just entertaining people in general. But no, that was back in the day. And then when we moved here to Vancouver, Washington from California, my wife decided to buy me some equipment for a Christmas. I think it was like a Christmas present or a birthday. And at first we were like the music industry was like transitioning from like records and tapes and like CDs into like digital. It's kind of like when I think that Napster thing started,
Mhm.
so it was all transitioning. And then for me, I was like, all I remembered was just how to mix with records. And now there's this digital thing where you can just download whatever you want whenever you want it. And I was intimidated by it, but it took me a couple years before I actually started messing with the controller she bought me. It was just like this little Hercules two jog wheel thing on it, and I didn't even know how to use it at all.
Mhm.
Bought a desktop computer, not a laptop, because we didn't have one then, and it worked. And it was just more for our bedroom, hanging out at home and mess around with the kids. But I started getting back into it, and kind of just trying to save up and download as much music and equipment that I could get. And then a friend of mine a friend of mine wanted me to DJ his wedding. And I just told him, hey, bro, listen, I don't know how to DJ a wedding. I don't have no experience. This is my very first one. I said, I would love to do that for you because I know how bad it went on my wedding day. So I know what not to do on someone's wedding day. So all I focused was, as long as I don't do this, this, and this, the rest is going to be gravy, because I already enjoyed DJing and I already knew how to hook up the lights and speakers. So that just kind of came with it. I did his first wedding, and it went awesome. It was a great experience, and then just got multiple referrals after that. Just year after year, got busier for me. And back then, I was a truck driver, so when I was driving trucks, I was DJing on the weekends, and then Monday through Friday, I was driving trucks, and I started noticing that the income I was making off of just DJing was helping my family better than me being gone for like 60 hours a week truck driving. So I started cutting back on that, and then my business really picked up for me. Um, and then there was a couple DJs around town here who gave me some of my first shots. My first opportunity that I had for DJing was with a friend of mine named Travis Randalls. He's DJ Frequency. Um, he hooked me up and let me ride with him a couple times to some events he had. Another good friend of mine named James Wright, DJ Also Fresh, he hooked me up too. I mean, he brought me along to like nightclubs. He gave me that other vision and how it is for DJs being nightclub DJs like yourself, versus like the entertaining of a big group of people that's not going to be going 100 miles an hour drinking alcohol and just there to party, which is at a club. But when you're doing a private event, there's so many moving parts and a variety of things that are happening in the background that you as a DJ, the entertainer, and the MC of the event, you have to make sure that you're on top of all that other stuff. So that's one of the biggest reasons why when I started DJing, and one of the biggest reasons why I started my business is just because it just grew faster for me, and I was able to provide for my family easier that way. I wanted to be with them more, and I focused more on the DJing, and the rest is kind of history. I met some awesome guys like you and a few other DJs along the way. And it's great, man. This year has been a tough one, but it's been one of those type of years where you kind of see who are going to be the ones that are going to be able to hang, right? Like be able to handle and get through any kind of diversity. It doesn't matter what it is. It's going to be tough at first. Yeah, we've had a lot of cancellations, obviously, a lot of postponements and rescheduling, but you just kind of learn how to deal with the situation and move forward and try to grow in other aspects, maybe more on the business aspect of it. and then just go from there, and then train also other dudes coming up in the game that want to learn. You know what I'm saying? And that's
Yep.
what I appreciate the most about you.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. Yeah, just to clarify, Prestige Sounds is a wedding company, DJ company that he runs, and I work with him, and I'm very proud to be a part of it.
Thank you.
And it's hard because I say it's hard because there's a lot of what goes into being a wedding DJ or a DJ in general. You know what I mean? You got to buy all this equipment. You got to study up on how other DJs DJ these weddings,
Hmm.
to make sure and do it to your style and your liking, and on top of that, it's just knowing your equipment, getting to know the people around there. So like, what was your process of like beginning to understand weddings more?
Wow. The process. Well, I think I kind of was just learning from experience, just hand-on experience. Unfortunately, I didn't get the opportunities that I was looking to get early in the game, as far as like being able to connect with other companies and then maybe helping them out and assist them and help them build their team. I want to do that at first and learn my ways there.
Mhm.
But this game is kind of different, man. It's one of those things where it almost seems as if there's a lot of DJ companies out there that think they have the secret, like that secret sauce or the secret thing of what makes them an amazing wedding DJ or corporate event, entertainer. Um, but in reality, there is no secret. There's no secret. Like what you do, what I do, could be exactly the same as far as having an itinerary, a plan, meeting with the clients, playing the right music, all that stuff. We're gonna do that all the same way, but it's the style of how you do it that's gonna stand out. But it doesn't necessarily mean that my system might be better than some other companies or that there's and vice versa. It's just that I don't know, man. I've always been the type of person that I think you should give people a try, give them a chance if they're really wanting to be a part of something. You know what I'm saying? And give them that opportunity and see what happens from there.
Right, definitely. One thing I like about how you do your itineraries and stuff is you're super organized, man. With when you meet these customers, dude, you bring a speaker to show them the actual music that they want, just to make sure that it's the right songs. You bring, sometimes you bring an extra person there to help you take notes um, and you bring a computer, you're just super friendly guy in general. um like what's your favorite, because I know you told me before, but
The
like
viewers don't know probably.
yeah, like what's your process on meeting the people too, because that's a different side of the DJ scene.
Yeah, I've learned as I'm going along, because I've never been connected with other companies. I didn't have like a certain like a real good idea of what's supposed to be done. So I learned as I went along, and I did my setup, my program. I did it the way that I thought it would work for me if I was the client. So what would make it easier for them? What would make them really know that I'm interested in them as people and as a couple, not just a number or some letters on a file or on the internet. Like I want to get to know them. I'm not saying I'm going to go out and barbecue with them and hang out or whatever, but
Mhm.
I do want to get to know a little bit about them. I typically what I do is over email. I just congratulate them on the engagement, and then we just let them know how important it is to find the right DJ for their event, and then we try to sit down with them for an initial meeting and kind of just have them paint us a picture. Like what is it that you want your wedding to look like? What do you want it to feel like when it comes from the entertainment side of things? The flowers, it's easy. That's pretty easy for the florist to do that, but it's different. And same with the caterer too, but it's different for a DJ because a DJ has to like deal with so many moving parts and then also try to satisfy like all the guests that are there by little bits. Maybe a song that older folks might enjoy, a song that younger folks might enjoy, but at the same time that perfect balance. Um, so as far as uh, like what do I do from the beginning to the end? I meet with them. We kind of talk about what it is that they're looking for, and then based on that information, then I can give them a quote. I've never been a big believer on just having set quotes up
Mhm.
because I feel like you're either gonna on the business part, you're either going to lose some money or you're going to make some unnecessary charges to them, and that's not fair to the customer. But after we've met and they decided to move forward, then we sign a contract. We hand them the itinerary that they need to work with as far as like the plan for the day, and go from there.
Go from there.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely, man. How important is it to bring somebody to a wedding with you?
So if you're the DJ, then it's pretty important because not only do you need help bringing all the equipment in, but you never know what you're going to run into, whether it's at a venue that's very expensive and they don't want you to park right in front of their entrance to the door. And then their back door is somewhere else, right? Then you have to go park that vehicle with all your expensive gear in there. And you might be in the neighborhood that you don't know or don't feel comfortable in because you're going to be in that building anyways. But if you don't have that extra person, then who's going to watch your back? First thing. Second thing, it's good to always have a helper because that way, if you fall behind setting up, you have that assistant to help you. But depending on the size of the wedding and how much experience you have, you can do a lot of them on your own. I mean, it's not that difficult as long as you have a plan of what you need to do to execute all your equipment, your setup, your breakdown, and all that stuff. Then you can do it all yourself. It's just you got to be organized with it.
Right, definitely. And what's cool about going back to how you met the people, like what's cool with working with you is like I would go to the rehearsals and the weddings with you, and mainly the people that attend are people that you DJ'd for before, and so they recognize you, you know,
Yeah.
and that's super cool. It's like mainly it feels like mainly how you get out there is word of mouth, and you know, social media comes second, but you know, that's it. Like, how does it feel to know that you're doing what you're doing is working, you know?
Yeah, it feels amazing to be honest with you, because we've never had a template. Like we've never known what's supposed to be done and what isn't supposed to be done. We just went based on how it would feel for us. Like my wife and I, we talked about, you know, how to say certain things, how to talk to them, how to make them feel comfortable, you know, because yes, you're trying to book the client, but at the same time, you want them to know that the big amount of money they're about to pay you for an event, you're not going to run away with it. You know what I'm saying? So you got to make them feel comfortable. You got to make them feel like it's going to be okay. But I think that's why it's awesome to run into people that I've already done an event for before, and they're at the present one that I'm at. It's great to know that they remember me because I must have done something right. You know, they can only remember you because of two reasons: either because you did something horrible and or embarrassing, and the other one is because you did it right. So that's why they remember you.
Yeah, that's a good one, man. So like when you arrive to these weddings, right? What are the things to communicate, and who do you have to contact? This is for people like, you know, that's maybe wanting to get into the wedding industry from a different realm of DJing.
Okay. So you're talking about if someone wants to become a wedding DJ, like
Mhm.
what should be one of the first things to do?
So like, yeah, so say you go up to the venue that you're at, you gotta eye out where you're gonna be set up. You gotta talk to the
On the day of the event you're talking
yeah,
about?
there you go. Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
my bad, sorry.
No, that's okay. So I think one of the first things I would do is I would go touch base with the site coordinator or the planner. So you have like an event planner, whether it's for a corporate event, if it's for a wedding, so a wedding planner or a day of coordinator for them. So you want to go find these people that are going to be able to give you the information that's necessary. Like, where are you going to be set up? Where is the ceremony going to take place? Where's the reception going to take place? And that's who I go touch base with, the site coordinator or the event coordinator or somehow. And then they should have all the information you need.
Definitely, and it probably helps knowing um, at some of the venues that you've been at too. You
Of course.
know exactly what you need to bring. You know
Right.
what may happen. I remember the first wedding I did with you. There were sprinklers. Like you
Vintage Gardens.
yeah, vintage gardens. Like
Yeah,
you knew that I had to bring a canopy. You know, just in case.
yeah,
Um, it was all outside. You know, so
yeah.
like it really helps to know the venue and what you know
Oh, yeah.
you're like you I remember you telling me to the sprinklers like man, you're so worried about it. You're like, dude, I hope these sprinklers don't go off. And it did, but yeah,
Yeah.
no, having a second person while somebody's DJing helps because you,
Yeah, 'cause I mean, can you imagine if you had to worry about putting plastic cups on these
right,
sprinklers that popped up while you're trying to DJ?
dude,
Because I think like you were right. What, weren't you in the middle of a set?
yeah, I
Yeah,
was,
right.
I
Yeah,
was,
so I mean, you have to stay focused. The person that's your assistant is literally someone that can watch your back, that you can trust, and is going to look out for you. So that person, yeah. There's times where we're going to run into an issue where we're like, I'll just bring my cousin with me. You know, he's available, but he's not, nothing doesn't have anything else to do. That's okay. Bring someone with you so you don't break your back, right? But the majority of the time, it's important to that the person you're bringing has that care for of looking out for you when you're there. You know what I'm saying? Because that sprinkler situation could have been bad. And the biggest reason I knew about that is because it had happened once before, not at a wedding, but it happened during the rehearsal.
mm,
So, but you know, a lot of those things, it's you can't control it, you know, because you know the lady that runs that location, she's awesome, but you know, it could have been one of those things that just slipped her mind, you know, and it just happens, you know.
right,
Um,
definitely,
yeah,
yeah.
it's different, you know, but it is important to have someone with you.
Yeah, for sure. And definitely, coming up, I'm still a beginner in this, but I'm more comfortable now knowing how organized your procedure is. Like, I remember doing weddings on my own, and I would just always have these freakouts in my mind because I was never organized. Like, I would always have this this itinerary out that I would make. I would have to meet with the people, more than twice, to
Mm,
make sure that I got everything done.
yeah.
On the day of the wedding, like, gosh, I would have to go to my uncle, because he was attending as a guest. So I would have these things like problems with my microphone, not bringing anybody with me. It was such a big event. Like, I had to buy more equipment, so I didn't really have the essentials down that I needed. And communication is key for sure.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I don't know where I was going with that. Sorry.
No, well, actually, you know, now that you brought that up, like for beginners in general, if they're not connected or hooked up with a company that's already stable and knows exactly what they're supposed to do, they're going to be learning on their own, and that's great. You know, if you have enough basically balls, you know, to go and do it by yourself because it's
Right.
not easy. You know, I was super nervous when I first did my first wedding, but I did do a lot of research about wedding DJs, the equipment you need, the type of lighting. I literally just went on YouTube and just searched it all up. And I did a lot of research. And what I did was I basically hooked up with a rental company that's here in Portland. And I told them, I said, I'm new and I'm trying to learn. And they were like, all right, just make sure you bring back the equipment like this and this stuff. You can leave it alone. So it kind of like let a little bit of pressure off of my shoulders, just knowing that it's okay. You know what I'm saying? Like things are going to be all right. But yeah, that first event, the first few events can definitely be nerve wracking.
Definitely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was for me for sure.
Right. Yeah. And speaking from those experiences, what are some essentials that you bring now to weddings that you didn't think you would have to bring?
Oh wow. Oh, screwdrivers,
Yeah.
wires, extra connections for, let's say you have an iPad that you need to hook up because your computer went down, or for a connector for your phone.
Hmm.
Um, Extra longer connectors, you know what I mean? Any kind of cables, and and just definitely have extras of anything and everything, you know, because it's better to know that you have it and don't need it than to need it and not have it.
Hmm.
So yeah, it's important to just have a little bit extra. I know we're all trying to be as compact because maybe our car is too small, maybe nobody else could bring it with me, or this is all I'm gonna need. But then you give yourself no space for error at all.
Definitely. And nowadays, like, I see you bring, hand sanitizer on deck.
Oh
You
yeah, for sure.
dis uh diff,
The spray, yeah, disinfecting spray.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I bring that just so I can spray the microphones down after the guests use it. Um,
Right.
you know, I do it not only for my safety, but at the same time to make others feel comfortable that I'm being cautious my not only with my equipment but with their health and their safety. So yeah, that's why I spray down my mics, hand sanitizer every time I get the mic back, and things like that. And then I also got the facade that I put around the table. I never used the facade before. I felt like this was the perfect time for me not only to upgrade my equipment to something a little bit more fancier looking, but at the same time, because it physically looks like a wall, like visually it looks like a wall, but it's a nice fancy looking wall.
Yeah.
People already know to kind of stand a little bit further back. But of course, as they get more hyped up throughout the night, they're always going to go and lean on the facade.
Yeah.
I just got to make sure it doesn't get knocked over. But no, I just try to be cautious with things and make people feel comfortable.
Definitely. What would you say, you know, prior to COVID and COVID now, you know, comparing the two times, similarities and differences with the weddings that
Hmm.
you experienced?
Well, I guess the only similarities is that people still want to show up to the wedding and show love and just be in that feeling of like someone's getting married today is a big step, big move.
Mhm.
So those are the similarity parts, but there's a lot of differences in the sense of like there's a lot of vendors who don't want to go out there right now, and I totally understand because I mean, right now it's difficult to like really be around a lot of people at one time. Plus, there's so many rules, right? But you're at a wedding, and even though there's only 50 people there, you know, there's a lot of mingling going on and hanging out with each other. So there's a lot of vendors that aren't showing up to these events anymore, like they're canceling themselves. So that's a big difference. And then just the smaller group of people. I'm used to, you know, 150 to 200 people weddings, and you're doing 50 people, and you're just kind of like, man, am I going to be able to rock them out and make them feel good and have a good time? But they all want to party. You know, they've all been locked up in the house for a while. You know, they've gone through some stresses in their lives, man. You just got to go in there and remember that you're the one that's going to release a lot of this tension and stress that they've been having over the last 6 months. So it really hypes me up. And I've had a great time with my last couple of weddings too. They were really, really
Mm,
amazing successes on both of them.
gotcha. What would you say is the similarities between the crowds of a wedding and a club or the
Hmm.
nightlife?
The only the biggest similarity that I would see would be that they're both going to end up drunk. It's just a matter of like the wedding group taking a little bit longer to get drunk, you know, because they're just drinking beer and wine, versus at a club where, you know, as soon as they get there, it's just straight alcohol, straight shots.
Mhm.
So they're already kind of warmed up. Um, but sometimes with club, I mean, I think the difference is that the club people are sometimes more demanding because they feel like because they're spending money on all these bottles and all this services that we should be bowing down to them, and just whatever they ask for, we should just give it to them, right?
Mhm.
But that's what it is at clubs. At weddings, it isn't quite like that. The people are just more, you know, relaxed and let you do your thing.
Right, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, what would you say, or would you say, not would you say, the importance of an MC being at a wedding? How important is that?
So are you saying like you DJing and then also having an MC there?
Also, you being an MC. Yeah.
Oh, I think that's very important. I mean, everything you do on the microphone is also going to translate to how you handle yourself on a one-on-one basis with a client or another professional or a venue, whatever it may be. So if you learn how to speak on the microphone, I'm not saying I'm the best. I mean, there's a lot of amazing guys out there who are amazing on the microphone, but I just want to get the point across of what's happening at the moment, get the message out, and then just pull out. Like I don't want to think too much and drag on my conversation when I'm on the microphone. And I'm not there to be a comedian. I'm not there to entertain you on the microphone. I'm there to entertain you on the turntables, right? So on the music. And that's what's more important for me. As long as you can get the message across over the microphone, the emceeing is important because of the communication, but it's not about how you can speak into the mic, your voice, all that stuff. That comes with experience. After some time, all those kinks of like the and all those things, they're going to happen at the beginning. But once you get it out of your system, you will never say them again.
Right, right. Yeah, it's definitely a process. What would you say, not would you say, gosh, I'm gonna edit this all out. Don't worry. uh, best experience.
Put it in the bloopers reel.
Yeah. Blue was your um best experience at a wedding that you've had.
Oh man.
There's a lot.
I, well, man, see, the best experience is more based for me on how big the party was and how I was rocking so many people, and then them wanting more time, like maybe stay for an extra hour or an extra hour on top of that. So that's probably one of my best ones. I think one of my most emotional ones was this one couple that got married a couple years back, and their first dance. I think a friend of theirs had sang this song or wrote this song for them for their wedding. And when I played it, most first dance songs are roughly 3 minutes, 45 seconds, maybe past 4 minutes, right?
Mm.
And most brides and grooms are like, just play the first minute and a half. I don't want that much out there. But this song was almost 5 minutes long. And there was something different and special at that moment, and it felt amazing because the whole room felt it. The whole room felt the bride and the groom. They felt their love for each other at that moment, and the song was so deep and so just so meaningful that, like, even me, like, I was just there, like, just staring at the couple dancing, listening to the song, and it was just like getting my heart, man, to be honest with you. And everybody in the room, like, I really took a glance around because I was looking at the timer and it was going on to 3 minutes, but yet I just wanted to see more. Like, I wanted to see them really enjoy this song and just fall in love at that moment even deeper, right? And it went like that. Like, literally, the song ended, and typically I'll go right on the mic and just say, "Hey, make some noise for our bride and groom tonight. Everybody, cheers!" But the song ended, and I think I might have lasted like 5 seconds of like silence,
Mm.
and then I know, and then I remembered that I'm like, "Oh shit, I'm supposed to say something right
Ah,
now." You know what I'm saying? Because I was
yeah.
so like captivated and so like in the moment when that happened, that literally nobody else in the room noticed that I wasn't saying anything for 5 seconds after the song. So that was really meaningful for me, that wedding day. It was just different from all the other ones.
Dude, that's awesome.
Yeah, it was. It
I
was
can really picture that. Yeah. That's like the moments that, DJs live for, man. It's just,
definitely, definitely.
that's what our job's about, dude.
Right? Yeah. And then not only will you always remember it, but they're gonna remember it too because you played the music. You know what I'm saying? So you made everything, throughout the whole night. For me, I'm trying to read body language by how they're bobbing their heads to certain songs, how they're tapping their feet, and it's important to read that language. I mean, there's a lot of people, DJ companies out there they'll just throw on a mix and just let that play in the background while they sit back and relax, have a glass of wine or maybe some water, or whatever, and they'll just let that play because they feel like their job is not the background music. Your job is the dance hour, but in reality you have to be prepping your guests. You have to be prepping the audience for what's coming tonight. You know what I'm saying? It's not about only hitting them with bangers on that hour or those couple hours during the dance hour. It's about how are you going to make them feel tonight? For me, cocktail hour, background music for dinner, everything is somewhat up tempo. It's hardly ever any slow songs or anything. It's just more up tempo, some more R&B, just to let them remember things and also feel good while they're having dinner. Like little things like there's a song called "Why Can't We Be Friends?" I think it's by War, and I played that song at the last two weddings, and I had never played it before. But not only is the song very chanty, where a lot of people can sing it at the same time, but it feels good. You know what I'm saying? Like there's something like rhythmic about the song that feels good to listen to it. And yet at both of my weddings, there was a group of like five people that were all singing that song. Why can't we be friends? And they were just kind of, enjoying it. And so what I'm saying is like that buildup of music, of good bangers, even though that they're softer bangers, not floor fillers. That's what I'm hitting them with all night. And then when I get them on the floor, then I'm just gonna pound on them after that.
Right. That's what I like about your playlist for, before the actual party is that you have songs that are upbeat and like you said, and people can vibe to, but also talk, over, but also recognize, and you still have ammo at the end of the night.
Right.
So
Yeah.
that's
And,
very
that, and
important.
that's and that's exactly what they're expecting. That they're kind of like, man, this is gonna be a good night. He's playing some good music, whatever it is, right? There's
Mhm.
a lot of couples that'll go out there. They'll get a babysitter for their kids because they want to party at their cousin's wedding or whatever. But if the music's boring and the entertainment sucks and there's no interaction or anything like that, they're going to say, you know what, honey, we got a babysitter. Why don't we just dip out of this wedding and go watch a movie or go to a bar, hang out for a minute. Maybe we'll come back later because the music sucks anyway. So what are we hanging out for?
Mm.
Like for me, Prestige Sounds Northwest, like I want to give our clients a reason to stay, not a reason to go. So that's why I'm hitting them with really good bangers the whole night, because I don't want you guys to go anywhere, man. I want you guys on the dance floor tonight. So I'm
Mm.
just prepping you right now. You just don't know it.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Oh yeah, bro. Dude.
Mental game sometimes, bro.
Yeah, all the time, dude.
Yeah, right, right.
Uh, but yeah. Would you say? Do you remember? Gosh, a moment that that went wrong that you held on to
Oh man.
try and change in the future.
Oh, oh. Every every entertainer, every company, man, has those moments where they're like, man, I really wish I could have done that differently. I really wish I could turn back time and like just go about that differently. Either the way I handled it, what I did, what happened, everything. And I mean, yeah, I hate talking about this, to be honest with you, because
Uh,
I always feel like if I talk about it, like it's gonna happen. You know what
uh,
I'm saying? But
you don't have to. You don't have to.
no. It's not one of those things where like I'm okay with talking about it. It's just that it irks me because of what happened and
Yeah.
the way it happened. Basically, we messed up. We messed up on the timing. You know, we messed up by an hour. For
Oh.
example, the ceremony was supposed to start at 4. We thought it was at 5. And yeah, and the location wasn't like 15 minutes away from us. It was like 45 minutes away from us. So for us to be thinking we were starting at a certain time and already be behind that time, plus knowing that we have to drive far to the location, it was one of those things, man, where it was like my heart was pounding. I was flying down the freeway, which I shouldn't have been doing, because if something would have happened, who's gonna show up to the freaking wedding? Nobody.
Mm.
Right? So obviously that was my dumbass fault, but nothing happened. So I'm rushing up to this wedding, and then I have my helper, who in this case, not only did I have an MC that was helping me at the time. This is when I first started, man. It's probably like 7 years ago or something like that. And anyways, so it was my helper, the MC, and then my wife. She jumped on with us too because we were behind. So she jumped and she was like, you know, if she goes with us, she's gonna be able to help us set up faster, right? So we had that extra person. So now it's gonna be 3 of us. I'm rushing there, and I get there, and like everybody's wondering where you're at, because they're calling me as I'm driving. They're calling me to find out what's going on. Why aren't you here yet? But I'm not answering because I'm flying down the freaking freeway, and I'm just kind of like, I don't want anything to get in my way. I'm just, oh man.
Yeah.
And this is only the beginning, bro. Like I'm just telling you the very beginning of the story. There's so much to it. I guess I'll just get to it. All right, we were late. Everybody knew we were late. I think as a team, me, the MC, and my wife, I think we worked really hard, really fast. I think we might have been set up for the ceremony and the reception in about 15 minutes,
Wow.
which is, I don't know, like I can probably set up by myself in like 45 minutes if I was in a rush, but we set up everything in like 15 minutes. It was a mess, but we did it, right? So
Yeah.
imagine you're ready to get married at 4 p.m. Your DJ showing up at like 3:40, you know, before the ceremony is supposed to start, and he has 2 hours of equipment set up, but he did it in 15 minutes. But can you imagine what we must have looked like? We must have looked like chickens with their heads cut off, just running everywhere. She's going this way, I'm going that way, MC's going this way, and you're trying to keep your bride and groom calm. You know that we got this under control. It's very difficult, and it was in the summertime, so you're like drenched. Your hair's freaking a mess. You know what I'm saying? Like you're just dirty, and it was horrible, man. My heart's pounding. I'm like, all right, stay focused. Poker face. I got this under control. Let's do this. And then we started with the ceremony. It was late, but after that, everything seemed to go really well. Yes, the bride and groom's family was not the dancing type, and a lot of the guests, I should say, weren't supposed to be dancing at all. Put it this way: we weren't even supposed to be there to provide music. Okay, and what I mean by that is that this is how they live. I don't know what it's based on. I don't know if it's culture or religion, and I didn't want to ask because I never do that. It's none of my business. but they weren't supposed to have music. There's no live music at ceremonies and receptions. There's nothing like that. There's nothing that's upbeat. It's all got to be mellow, guitar, violin, and that's it. So I'm changing the music, which we talked to with the bride and groom ahead of time, and they were okay with it. And yet both of their sides of the family did not agree with any of it. So I was losing them, you know what I'm saying? Losing them on being unhappy and all this stuff. So there's more pressure right there. Bride and groom seem happy. Their parents okay, but their friends and family were like, "You're not supposed to have music here." You know that. And that kind of they kept on giving me those looks like that. So being late, the music situation, all the pressure, nothing was comfortable. It was super hot. And so the wedding ended. And again, I'm just profusely just apologizing. I'm really sorry, you guys. I don't know where the mistake was at. I was trying to really, really just calm them down, but they weren't freaking out. And that was the problem, is that I was freaking out. So it was definitely coming out.
Yeah.
So the night ended. We went home and we were like, oh, that was, I guess it could have gone worse, right? Like I even had the bride with me behind the DJ table. She had my headphones on and she's DJing, like pretend DJing and all this stuff. And the husband seemed to be having a great time. Night ended. We went home. It was probably, I don't know, maybe a couple weeks later, something like that. But a couple weeks later, we get an email from the bride and the groom and their lawyer.
Oh, what?
Yeah. So it kind of got dirty. It got dirty. And that's why this was one of my worst events ever. I had a few other ones that I wouldn't say were bad. It's just that maybe bad communication or too many people trying to be like the Chiefs and call shots when they're not supposed to. But that's going to happen. Hopefully it doesn't happen that often, but it is going to happen. You got to just accept it. But that one wedding was one of those things where it was horrible. I just hope I never have to experience that again. And that's why now you might notice that I double and triple check things, right?
Oh, yeah.
Whether it's me giving you the correct information, make sure it's the right bride and groom, the location, the address. Like I try to communicate as much as I can so nobody can say you messed up or you left that information out or whatever. It's not going to happen on my watch after that first situation I had.
Yeah. And usually you leave like 2 hours before, so that way you get there like on time.
Oh yeah, for sure. I don't want to give myself any kind of, no real small margin of error, because even with my experience, not that I have, 20 years of experience in this game, but I have enough experience. I'm doing 35 to 40 weddings a year. So it's not the highest number of weddings, but at the same time, that's a lot of experience that you're going to be gathering. You know what I'm saying? Like you've been DJing in nightclubs a lot, so you know what to expect and how to get the crowd there and all that at certain times. You don't just hit them with those bangers at 8:00 at night. Know when the peak hour is. So it's kind of the same thing for us. Like we just know what's going on now. But no, I mean, it's ever since that one bad situation, it's been good since then.
Good to go. Yeah, man. Yeah, you learn from, mistakes and stuff. Yeah. It's crazy.
I had my computer, I had power go out on me this past Sunday at a wedding.
Oh, this past Sunday?
Yeah, like the breaker popped.
Oh, shoot. So it wasn't even you. It was...
No, it wasn't me. No, the situation was, and this could be a learning experience for you as well, because what the situation that I had was the lady was like, you can hook it up behind this, the area where you're going to be set up. There's nothing hooked up to that wall. So you're going to be good. You're getting all the power you need. So I was like, perfect. There's nothing in that shed area. So we should be good. Well, I plugged in there. What I didn't realize was that also their air conditioner unit for the whole house was in that area as well. And it was along the same wall. I don't know about electricity, how they set it up in the walls, but I would assume that whatever is within, 6 feet of each other on the wall inside is probably going to be somehow connected with each other on the wiring. I don't know what happened exactly. All I know is that we got into the dance hour. We're about to blow that night up because it was really, really good. Everybody felt good. Everybody was happy. 8:00 pops up and we go at it, 10 minutes strong. And then all of a sudden everything shuts off. The lights go out, music stops, and I'm like, did someone, pull the plug or something like that? So I'm like, we're trying to figure out what's going on. Everybody was feeling real good, buzzed and stuff like that. So they were mingling and talking, and I'm trying to figure out what the problem is. They went to they went to flip the breaker, got the power back going, but now I had to baby the whole sound system all night by turning down the subwoofer all the way, turning my tops down a little bit, just so that they don't pull and draw so much electricity. So now it's not sounding that great. There's no thump, there's no nothing. So then later the lady comes out, because this was at a house, by the way, big yard, but it was at a house. And the lady comes out and she shows me like this three-way plug that she had 3 different things hooked up that she had disconnected. Brings it out to me, and I thought she was telling me that I was using a 3-way plug inside the house for my power, but I wasn't. So she brings it out and she goes, "Oh, we found the problem. There was 3 things on the other side of the wall where you were hooked up to that were all plugged into that one plug. But where I was plugged in, there was nothing there. So I never remembered to check on the inside of the house on what's on the other side of where I'm hooking up to, because they're gonna have the same power there. But I guess, you don't really learn these things unless you go through it. So I guess that's why I'm telling you, because if you're ever having to hook up to anything, you got to make sure, depending on the sound of the size of your sound system, you're going to want to know exactly how many amps are coming out of there, or if there's anything on the other side, like a refrigerator or a blender or air conditioning unit.
Yeah, man. There's a lot of stuff to look out for.
Oh yeah,
yeah, definitely.
But and again, like unless you're hooked up with a company that has that experience already, you're just gonna have to learn it by experiencing it. Whether it's the power going out or a client that you're not sure how to handle because of the experience that they feel like they had. So you're just gonna have to learn as you go and just grow with it.
Yeah, you just gotta take that. Just take it, man.
But I ain't gonna let you fall though, bro. You ain't gotta worry about that. I got you covered.
Yeah, so sometimes I gotta go through it though. That's sometimes it's the best way to learn.
I already got that in the plan.
Yeah. You gotta unplug some plugs.
I'm gonna take them training wheels off one of these days and see what's up.
Yeah. Dang, dude.
Wear your helmet.
We'll see, man.
You'll be all right.
Yeah, man. Like, everything that you did, it's worth it in the end. To have those moments that really went well.
I'll tell you the moment where for me I was like, all right, this guy's gonna be okay, and I'm talking about you, was at the very first wedding that we did together. It was more your wedding, but mine got canceled, so I rolled with you at this one. And one of the biggest reasons is because I wanted to see you in action at a wedding, and because doing it at a club is totally different. The environments are different, music's different. So I wanted to be with you and see how it all was going to go for you. We both dealt with some audio issues, right? That I think we're going to be figuring it out. And then at the same time, I wanted to see where your MC skills were at too. So that's why I had asked you, if you remember, do you want me to MC tonight or do you want to take it on? I wanted to hear you say, "Oh no, I'll do it. I think I want to do it tonight." And that's exactly what you did. And I thought, honestly, I didn't think you were going to want to. I thought you were going to say, "No, you probably should do it. I'll focus on this," which would have been, that's okay if someone feels that way, because they're just taking baby steps to be able to do this on their own in the future, right? When you said that, I was like, all right, cool, and then you made your first announcement, you were fine. And yeah, you have to figure out what you're going to say and how you're going to say it, but that's okay. How it's easily going to flow, it's going to come with time. So right. You don't have to worry about that. But I think from that very first wedding, I was like, yeah, this guy's going to be all right.
Yeah, I felt that too. Like I always try to think of things, to make it easier on you. And I even want to MC the stuff that you're doing as well, to help me get that up, because public speaking is one of my things that I need to work on.
Yeah.
So, yeah, definitely. And I think it's very essential to weddings. You have to have that skill.
Yeah, you'd be surprised how it affects like how you even speak with people, whether you're interviewing like in this situation or just talking to people in general. Just that socializing with total strangers is is difficult, you know, especially if it's not like a stranger, like let's say a girl that you're trying to hook up with, you know, that's different because your mentality is different. But if you're trying to run business, like, you know, these people, they could be either judging you or based on how they hear you speak and how they hear you deliver your services, your product, and all this experience you've had. Based on all that, they're going to sign a contract or not. You know what I'm saying? So for me, it came down to like, you know what? Once I knew that I had to take on the MC role heavy, I was just like, you know what? It's either sink or swim. So I'm not going to sink. You know what I'm saying? Like I got to figure this out on my own. When I was in that situation is when the MCing became easier for me, because not only did I have a necessity, but I had to do it. But at the same time, I was like, the reason why I'm doing this for my family. You know what I'm saying? So it was, you know, I couldn't be nervous. I couldn't
Yeah.
be scared of it anymore. You just have to face it sometimes.
Right. Right. Yeah. You have stuff to look out for.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. Thank you for doing this, man. I appreciate you
Yeah.
coming on, man. Like,
I appreciate you having me, man.
for sure, man. Everybody, like, hit up DJ LZ, man, on anything and everything. Prestige Sound Northwest. If you have a wedding, or if you know somebody that's having a wedding, hit this man up, man. I tell you, it's worth it. So appreciate you putting me on, helping me out. You know, you're a good guy, man,
Anytime, bro.
for
I
sure.
appreciate you, FJ. I look forward to seeing you grow in this business and just seeing you become a more amazing DJ. You're already amazing as it is, but when you get all these other ingredients in there as well, man, you're gonna be unstoppable, bro. And I already told you that you're gonna be unstoppable.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I believe it. Thank you, man. I appreciate you.
You're welcome.
I'll talk
Thank
to you.
you.
All right.
All right, man. Have a good night.
You too.